Do you think there's a rift between different black communities or different black nationalities?
I absolutely think there's a rift. I don't understand why.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly.
Yes, I do believe there's a rift, and I would love to have a conversation with somebody who would say no to this question.
Very much so, which is unfortunate too.
Of course.
I don't think it's necessarily a rift. There's definitely, I would say, a difference sometimes culturally.
There's definitely a lot of cultural clashing for sure.
Yes, in a sense, because I feel like, you know, within the black community, it's a lot of self-hate.
A big issue I see a lot is not everyone wants to identify themselves as African. Afro-Latinas, there's some Latinos that don't connect to like African culture, or they just deny that culture.
There's definitely a rift because like even in the black community on a whole, there's different communities. So you have the African American, you have the Caribbean American, you have the actual Africans, and then there's also a community of people who are just mixed.
And I think we're extremely critical of each other, often too critical.
And unfortunately, you can see that when it comes to the interactions of one another.
For the most part, I don't feel like it's intentional. When you see a black person, you expect them to behave in a certain way to meet your black standard that's in your head.
And I feel like true Africans are like, you're not really African because like you've got some changes in you. Caribbeans are like, we're Caribbean, we're not black Americans in a sense. And then black Americans are like, you guys aren't better than us. Those different mindsets just create for a lot of tension.
When it comes to a divide existing amongst black people, I think that has to do with complexes, that has to do with people not knowing their identities, that has to do with the media, that has to do with us not wanting to have sensitive conversations with one another.
So what they did to black people was they stripped us of our identity.
I always say that there's a 200 years of like not only physical separation, but like psychological and mental separation when it comes to like the African diaspora.
Those divisions between black people, which is really only ship stops. Y'all got dropped off here, they got dropped off there. When we were given these identities, we needed to cling to them because they meant so much to us in the past that now it's just like, I can't see past me being from this place. I can't see you past being from that place because I'm so accustomed to thinking that I'm this, you're that. Not to mention, it was never for us to be in unity anyway. That wouldn't make Master's job very easy.
I guess people get very up and big about their culture, and when they see something that they don't necessarily recognize, I think it's easier for people to make fun of something they don't understand than to come to a place of understanding where they can kind of see where this other person is coming from and try to understand their culture.
Say African people who come from the actual continent of Africa and how they view us black Americans, like, they kind of look down upon us. They don't hold us to that higher standard of black people. We feel like there's one black standard.
I'm from the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have Africans who would demean me for even wearing this shirt, and it's just like, but this is me saying that I stand in solidarity with you. Like,
and some people that are like from the Caribbean or even like the continent of Africa, they look down on black Americans because they don't have their own culture. I always think that's something stupid because everybody has a culture.
But what they fail to see is all of the social institutions that they have to grow up, that they have to go through, which have been disenfranchised for many years.
When I came, people assumed that I'm not black, or the classification was I'm African, I'm Nigerian.
We basically judge a specific group of people because of the actions of one.
And I feel like even with the Afro-Caribbean, like, me personally not being Afro-Caribbean, but I feel like they look kind of down upon us as me being African, because it's like, okay, yeah, I'm from the motherland or whatever, but at the same time, like, y'all don't know the struggles that we had to encounter coming to the States, and vice versa.
I find that in general, blacks sort of look down on Africa because it was disadvantaged. If you don't really know the history, prosperity is what is attractive.
You really notice it a lot more when you go to Caribbean events.
And I think it's a sense of pride, and it's also a sense of my blackness is better than yours.
Like, I remember growing up, it was always like this Haitian and Jamaican thing. But like, I got a couple homies who Jamaicans, and like the vibe has always been 100. So I never knew where that myth came to be. But then I'll be around others who just, they people is they peoples, and they don't really associate amongst others. And then of course you got the light skin, dark skin thing.
What I've been exposed to is more friendly bickering.
I feel like with Jamaicans and Haitian, I feel like it's always a competition, like who's better, like
food-wise, dance-wise.
Being Haitian, born in the Caribbean, born in Haiti, and raised over here in America, I just feel like the Haitians were like the black sheep.
Why do you think that is?
They don't understand our culture.
I haven't really heard a lot of negative stuff from Haitians about Jamaicans, but Jamaicans to Haitians, I've heard like some really like terrible things, and it's just like, and I say we because I felt this way too. We're just so judgmental for no reason, based on what they've heard or what they've seen or what they've experienced or what they grew up in.
It's a generational thing back in the day of why like Haitian Jamaicans just don't get along. So that was brought into the home, and at first I didn't really deal with Haitians. And to be a part of Black Student Ministries on campus where it was mainly Haitians, and that's where God dealt with me and took off that like prejudice and discrimination against Haitians, where my closest friends to this day are Haitians.
And even within the Caribbean American community, there's difference, because if the person was born and raised here and there's someone who emigrated, like the different upbringing, the cultural background is slightly different. So even within the different separated communities, there's separation in that community.
But when they come here, it just makes it seem as if because I was born here, because I experienced this, I can't experience what you experienced.
Experience is different from the Haitian black experience or a Nigerian black experience or the Cuban black experience or people from Loaiza down in Puerto Rico. Even though it's the black experience, it's not necessarily a shared black experience.
The differences amongst us is what makes our entire ethnicity, our entire race beautiful. We're more of a mosaic rather than this melting pot that we try to fit ourselves into, where people strip each other away and so forth.